Hey everybody, so today I'm here to talk all about our grocery budget, how we save on it, and what it looks like, ways that I've found to reduce our grocery budget, and a whole bunch more. Ever since I made my last video on deciding to become a stay-at-home mom, in which I offered some tips about our budgeting when I did become one, we had to change things up a little bit. And by a little bit, I mean a lot of it, because you go from 2 incomes or even more to 1, so obviously things need to change. And a big change for us was our grocery budget. Now I will say I'm making this video, but I'm no expert. I have like no financial education background or anything. I am literally just a mom of 2 kids who have been doing this for a few years. We have found things that work, that don't work, and everything in between. We're still learning. So, I'm just here to offer you some advice as to what we found has worked for our family. I've got a list of notes over here that I'm just gonna run through, give you guys a general idea of what our budget looks like, and then go over the ways that we try to save, and even like little tidbit things that I do in my everyday life that have also helped our grocery budget. I've tried to think back as far as I possibly could, and I honestly think our highest budget was just when it was Mark and I. We had incomes between each other and we just spent whatever we wanted. I don't think that we ever had meal plans or anything. I was in night school for cosmetology, working 2 jobs. He was working like a second shift type deal where he was gone literally all day long as well. So we really didn't have conventional times of eating and regular meals and stuff like that, so we kind of just did whatever worked and we were able to. So we never really paid much mind, especially when it came to our grocery bill, because we just didn't have to. And then when you start adding more children in the mix, and especially if someone decides to stay home and you no longer have that income, like I said, things need to change. So our budget has fluctuated just differently in the past. It really just depends on where we are in that moment and what we're making and what we're saving and everything else, and like what we are financially trying to do relies heavily on what the grocery budget is. And as far as what our budget is, we go grocery shopping every 2 weeks. I've gone more often, I've gone less often. Every 2 weeks just works for our family. But we go every 2 weeks, and every 2 weeks I spend $250. Now that $250 is gonna cover breakfast, lunch, and dinner for 4 people. That's 2 adults, my husband and I, and our 2 toddler girls. It's also gonna cover household items and also snacks for the girls, and well, for the rest of us, but my husband and I don't get nearly as many snacks as what our kids do. We determine our budget just based off of whatever our financial goals are. Back last year when we were trying to get a lot done, I think it was down to like $200 every shopping trip, but obviously that comes with like a lot of cutbacks and a lot of other things. And then this year has been a little bit more lenient, so now I spend $250 every time I go. But if we don't have any kind of financial goals or anything, my max ever for spending every 2 weeks is $300. To give you a little idea of what my grocery shopping looks like, I do, like I said in my last video, go grocery shopping at Aldi first and then Walmart in my specific area. Those 2 in Giant Eagle are really the only options as far as groceries are concerned. Mark and I used to shop at Giant Eagle back when it was just us 2 and we spent a lot more money. But when I'm trying to budget and stuff like that, I just stick to Aldi and Walmart. If you're watching this video because you want to get more ideas on how to save more money, I will say that looking at my current routine, there are a couple things that I could definitely do to even save more money, and that would be to shop at Aldi exclusively, because I know that that would cut down costs quite a bit. And then I could also buy less non-GMO and organic, because we do eat a lot of that. So if you're looking to cut back in areas, even if it's momentarily just for a little bit, or if you're looking for long-term things, definitely shopping at Aldi exclusively will save you a ton of money. And obviously things that are more organic and have different certifications, those are going to cost more than other foods. It's sad that it's like that, but it's true. Now, I wanted to go on and walk you guys through what I do before I go grocery shopping and just like what works for our family. So first and foremost, I always look at what we have and also what's on sale. Like I said, I shop at Aldi and Walmart, so I check out those flyers. Even though Walmart never has like crazy sales, their prices are pretty much as cheap as it gets. You might save like 25 cents here, 50 cents there, but it's never anything that's like, whoa. Whereas Aldi's normally always is cutting stuff by like $1, if not more. Like this past week, strawberries have been $3, but when I went grocery shopping just a few days ago, they were down to $1.20. So obviously you're saving a lot of money there. So I definitely check those out, especially when it does come to the produce, because I feel like Aldi always does have at least one produce item that is like super on sale, and I try to heavily revolve either if that's something for dinner or if it's a girl's snack like the strawberries. You know, the girls love strawberries, so I've just try to include that in as many lunches as I can. So I try to make that work where I find things on sale. And don't underestimate looking at what you already have. Honestly, I heard that tip quite a few years back, I think before I had kids, and it was such like a why don't I do that kind of moment. My family personally does not eat every single thing that we have in our pantry. Obviously we have things that are stocked up and whatever, but to look at what you have and what maybe you didn't get used that you thought you would and stuff like that, it can help a lot in planning your meals. And that kind of leads me to the next thing. We have a meal plan for literally every single meal. I know what the girls are going to eat for breakfast. I generally know what the girls are going to eat for lunch. I say generally because I buy quite a few items for their lunches and I just kind of interchange them. So they normally have like just a whole bunch of options and I throw a few together each day, but I also know what everybody obviously is going to eat for dinner because I plan those out. Mark has to plan his breakfast and lunch and give me a list of what he needs for those because he isn't doing any more frozen meals or anything, so he is very like specific in what he needs for each meal, and myself included. So everybody literally has to plan out breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and that helps a lot. Honestly, I know that Mark and I, we used to go without a meal plan, but it's hard to imagine that now. We had to have been just throwing anything in the cart because now I couldn't imagine going shopping without one because I wouldn't even know what to get. I can't think off the top of my head like that anymore, but I find that just hugely helpful. You're organized, you know what you need, and you're buying what you need versus just like throwing whatever in the cart. Like I said, you're going to plan out all those meals and you're going to write down what you need. There might be things in your kitchen that you already have for recipes or meals, and that's great. You obviously don't need to get them, but I will make the list and I'll put all the things that I need. And when I'm being super strict with our budget, like right now I'm trying to make sure I stay to that $250 and absolutely no more. I write down the prices next to each individualized item and I can total up everything so I know what it's going to cost before I go to the store. I know that sounds a little crazy, but if you're like us, we typically, for the most part, buy a lot of the same stuff. So a lot of it is already in my head. I know what almond milk costs. I know what our bread costs. I know what Mark's breakfast, you know, like things like that. I just already know it because I do so much shopping and it's always typically the same stuff. Obviously the dinners fluctuate, I feel like, for the most part, but that helps a lot, like so much. It is tedious, I'm not gonna lie to you, and my husband thinks I'm a crazy Looney Tune for doing it. However, it does keep me on a strict budget. When I don't do it, I could go $20 over, I can go $20 under, which really isn't that big of a deal if we're not being that super strict on the budget. However, at the same time, when I want to stick to a set amount, I just find it easiest and the best to just write down what it costs. I have a few sheets of paper of all of our regular items of like what they cost. I keep track of my receipts. I make sure that I write down any changes in prices and stuff like that. And I basically know what I'm going to spend the next time. So that has helped me a ton as well. I know not everybody is going to be able to do this next one, but I did want to mention it because it is a huge help in my budget, and it is the fact that my husband stays home with our kids while I go grocery shopping all by myself. Not only is it nice to just roam the grocery store and get what you need without having to dodge things flying from your toddlers throwing it out of your cart and not having to deal with meltdowns and everything else, but it also allows for people to not be throwing in random crap in my cart. I don't know if anybody else's significant others or kids do this, but literally if I take them to the store to get a set amount of items, even if I have a list, they will still put random crap in the cart because they think they need it. However, if mom does all the shopping, guess what? They always have what they need. However, if they come with me, all bets are off the table. We are definitely going to spend more when they're with me because my husband thinks this looks good and that'd be good for this meal, and it just gets carried away. And the kids want every single snack that they ever lay their eyes on. So when I go by myself, we've agreed beforehand what's gonna get bought, and I have everything that they need or they want written down. It's just a lot easier because I'm strict. Nothing goes in that cart that is not on the list. And like I mentioned, another huge part of our budget is the fact that I go shop at Aldi first and then Walmart second. And I would say within the last 6 months, 9 months, have started shopping at Aldi. And I didn't do it because I always felt like it's not going to save me that much money. You know, like I'll just do all my shopping at Walmart. It's not that big of a deal. However, my friends kept telling me, you need to do it, you need to do it. It's going to save you money. And I was like, fine, all right, I'll take a chance on it. And I did, and I ended up saving over $100 just instantly by shopping at Aldi versus getting all our groceries at Walmart, which was a little crazy to me because in our town, Walmart was the cheapest, or so I thought. So that helps a ton. Now at Aldi's, I pretty much shop for everything that I can get there because they don't have every single thing on my list, and there are also select items that I prefer to get from Walmart, and I'll explain that here in a second. But that's basically how I go grocery shopping. I buy basically everything that I can or that I want from Aldi, and then Walmart is always just the afterthought. It's what I maybe couldn't get at Aldi or stuff that I know I prefer from there. And I get a lot of people who say Aldi is really overwhelming, and I totally agree with you. The first time I ever stepped foot in there, it was super overwhelming. And my tip for that is to go when you don't need groceries. Go when you can go by yourself and you can look around and you can see the different things of like what you might buy at whatever store you're shopping at currently, and like kind of look around. I honestly took my list of prices and I was like looking at them, and I spent like maybe 30-45 minutes just walking around the store and looking. I ended up buying a couple things because I didn't want to look like a weirdo, but still, you know, I just find that best because it allows you to get used to the store, because it is very different than most. It's just like a lot of bulk items sitting out at you, and it can feel overwhelming. But as soon as you get a hang of it, literally I walk into Aldi and I'm throwing things in my cart left and right, and I'm out of there within like 45 minutes. Like I said, I am particular about certain things like the almond milk the girls drink, and I just feel like some very few things taste better name brand, like sour cream. I don't know what it is. I've tried generic sour cream for years and I just can't get over the taste. I need Daisy sour cream. I don't know what it is, but you know, there's just certain things that I prefer to either get like name brand or they're specific to Walmart, things like that. And when I do shop there, I use the savings catcher, which again, it was something that our friends told us about, and I was like, well, whatever, it's not going to save us that much money, but it does. It's a few dollars here and there, but when you shop regularly at a place, a few dollars adds up. I've gotten all the way up to like $50 within a few months sometimes, because they'll compare those prices to other stores and see if there were sales. And the last tip I have is something that I feel like we are trying our hardest on because it's what we struggle most with our grocery budget, and that is actually sticking to the meal plan. It's something that's hard for me because I don't know, there's just those nights where the kids have been crazy all day, you've had stuff to do all day, you still have stuff to do, and you're just like, please, just give me the Wendy's, give me the Taco Bell, so I don't have to stand over a stove and then wash dishes tomorrow. You know, like you just want the ease of it. So eating out is very tempting some nights, but eating out is far more expensive than eating at home, and that's where we get into trouble, because we definitely do have those nights, and on those nights it's a very simple answer of eating out. However, when you're trying to budget and make the most of your grocery budget, you're not doing yourself any favors by doing that, especially when you've bought certain foods for certain nights. Like, you need to be eating what you bought for. If you're going to eat out, that's perfectly fine, but make sure that's in your budget to eat out. So if you know for a matter of fact there's no way that we can't go without eating out. So, you know, put however many nights you're expecting to eat out in your budget and just don't buy dinner meals for that. That could help a lot too. I just feel like being honest with your budget allows you to get more out of it. So those are really all my big things that have helped me save in my grocery budget, and I wanted to mention a few smaller tidbitty things. I mean, all these small things definitely do add up, but they probably are just like a little strange, but I thought I would throw them in here because honestly over the years I've just kind of learned these things here and there, and I thought I would just throw them in there in case any of you are in that situation where you literally want to save every little nickel, dime, and penny. My first one is to shred your own cheese. A block of cheese is significantly cheaper and, in my opinion, tastes way better than the shredded bag cheese. But we do go through quite a bit of cheese, so for us it just makes sense to shred our own. And honestly, I've gotten so used to it, and Mark has gotten used to it when he has to make dinner. It's really not that big of a deal anymore. And they do have like electric graters if you really want something to like really make it easy. However, we do it all by hand with our just regular grater, and it works just fine, and it has saved us quite a bit of money. The next thing is something that I know has definitely saved us, and that is not having meat with every single meal. And I do this in a couple different ways. There are some nights that we go completely no meat, and we just make sure that we're getting our protein in other ways and forms, because there are other foods that offer protein, so you can do that. However, there are some nights where meat is like in the meal, but it's not like the star, so you're not using as much. I can use a half a pound of ground turkey, not the whole pound. Stuff like that. And then there are other nights that we do have meat as like the main course, but it just really depends. But I just feel like cutting back our meat consumption has helped a lot because meat is expensive. And honestly, back in the day, meat was a luxury item. Not everybody ate it. But I know that cutting back the amount of meat that we're eating has helped a lot because, like I said, it is expensive. I also buy, like, I would say 90% generic and then only 10% name brand stuff. Like I said, there's those oddball things I'm just specific about. But most of the time I find that generic tastes just the same as name brand, so I do buy it when and if I can. Sometimes you can't help that, but for the most part, generic does help a ton because you're not paying for like the name of something. And the last couple of things are things that we started doing within the last year, and they sound so silly, and I know they do, and it's wasteful to not do it, but I don't know why I didn't think of these things sooner. I really don't have any good justification for it. I didn't do it before, but it's putting away leftovers and putting away the girls' sippy cups. And let me explain. Obviously, a large portion of our budget goes towards dinners, and a lot of those dinners we have more than enough food to feed us, and that leads to leftovers. And before, I think it was just because having 2 toddlers, it's a lot during dinner time and getting them cleaned up and a shower afterwards, that by the time we would come out here and sit down after putting them to bed and everything, it's like the leftovers have been sitting out and it's kind of gross and weird now. So now we make sure that right after dinner somebody's putting away the leftovers so it does get eaten, and that helps a lot because that accounts for someone's lunch, and it just really does go down the line of helping and spending less money. And also there's things like we have a cheesy bread and tomato soup night. It's Sophie's favorite meal of all time, but we don't use all of the French bread for the cheesy bread, so I'll freeze that and I'll make garlic bread for our spaghetti night. So there's things like that that really help out as well. And then, like I said, we put away the girls' sippy cups. Almond milk is by far one of the most expensive things I buy on a regular basis because both the girls drink it. However, I was finding myself before putting their sippy cups away that we were always running out of milk before I could go to the store next. And I buy 6 half gallons at the store. So really, in my mind, there's no reason why we need to be going through that much milk that quickly. And I found that the reason why we were going through it so fast was because at night we weren't putting away their sippy cups and having them drink that milk in the morning. It was just these full sippy cups sitting out, and you would dump that milk. And sure, 1 or 2 times of that isn't gonna be a huge thing. When it happens on more than one occasion with more than one child, it does really add up. And I've found, since we make sure to put away the milk every single night, I find that we have no problem lasting with that 6 half gallons. So it's worked out phenomenally. It means spending less money because almond milk is really expensive, but I just wanted to mention all those little tidbits about my grocery shopping. Like I said, I'm no expert. I'm still learning. I'm sure I could still do things differently. If you have some tips and tricks that I haven't mentioned, make sure to leave them down in the comments below. I am always looking for new ways to do things. Like I said before, I'm no expert. I'm just a stay-at-home mom trying to share some tips and ideas for you. But I hope you guys enjoy the video, and as always, thanks for watching.